Hello, hello, my brothers and sisters. This is Garrett Bake, your brother in arms, and welcome to another episode of Awaken the Guardian. Today's topic: the light versus the dark. I want to start off telling you about something that's currently going on right now here where I live. In fact, involving the very department that I used to work for. A few months ago, there were some officers who were on the graveyard shift, third shift, whatever you want to call it, that were dispatched to an apartment complex regarding a call of an assault, right? So they show up and immediately are confronted by a male suspect. Now, not confronted physically, but they were confronted verbally. Now, this suspect is refusing to follow commands, refusing to do what he's supposed to do. So the officers go hands-on, and he immediately begins to resist. And then what's the right term? They do what needs to be done to take control of the situation, period. Now, here's the deal. Everything that these officers did was video recorded. They were wearing Axon cameras. Everything that these officers did was documented. So it was documented in police reports. It was documented in the videos. The use of force forms were filled out. I's were dotted. T's were crossed. Everything was done according to policy, according to the way that they were supposed to do things. And in fact, the force that they used was in line with the way that they were trained, right? Here's the problem. The problem is that a few days later, our police chief found out about this and immediately suspended all the officers, all the sergeants, like everybody and their mother who was even remotely involved in this. And I've kind of touched on this before, and I don't want to go too deep into it. I want to take it from another angle, and I want to take it into this angle of light versus dark. Now, stay with me here. This is going to take a minute to come together, but I know if you're sitting in your car, if you're sitting on the toilet, or if you're sitting in your bed, you got NBT, which is nothing but time. So here we go. Since we were young, we were taught about this idea of light versus dark. And in fact, I would venture out there to say that we were ingrained with this concept of light versus dark. For those of you who have children, either young or older, they went through a period of time or are currently going through a period of time where they fear the dark. Think about this. When you put your kids to bed, do you leave a nightlight on for them? Yes or no? Answer's probably yes. How do I know this? Because I did the same thing. I didn't want my children to be left in the dark, like ever. So we had to plug in hallway lights, or we would leave a closet light on. Like, depending on where we're living, we always seemed to have a light on. Last night, I went to tuck my daughter into bed. My wife's out of town for a few days, so I get to play Mr. Mom. Yay, me. Just kidding. I actually thoroughly enjoy my kids. So my two boys sleep in one room. My daughter sleeps in the other. Took my boys in, say goodnight, and my daughter is a teenager. So I go into her room, and we're talking a little bit, and then I kiss her goodnight, and I shut off the lights. And she's like, Daddy, can you turn my lights on? I'm like, what lights? She's like, my string lights. I really like them. I was like, okay, why do you want your string lights on? She's like, because they make me feel safe. And she tells me this. So I turn the lights on. She's got these decorative small lights that kind of hang over the top of her bed. And so I turn them on, and then I go to my room, and I turn off the lights in my room, and I'm in complete darkness. And as I'm sitting there in complete darkness, I'm thinking back to what it was that my daughter said. Daddy, can you turn on the lights? Why? Because it makes me feel safe. And I thought back how in her entire life, I've taught her to fear the dark and embrace the light. Like, this is a literal thing. And so my boys, when they go camping, what do they always want? They want a flashlight or a headlamp or some source of light that they can use. And I'm thinking about this last night, and then this morning I wake up and I'm thinking about it some more, and like, I'm scratching my head. I'm like, why is it that we teach our children this? Why is it that we have embraced this? And the truth is that the darkness, however you want to frame it or put it, contains the unknown. And so what do we fear? We as humans always fear the unknown. We fear not being able to see what's in front of us. We fear not being able to know what exactly is going to happen. So the more light that we have, the safer we feel. Here's the problem. The problem is that the light does not always serve us. I want you to think about any instance that you've had in your life where you've had to defend yourself or your family member or somebody else. And I don't mean you're just trying to arrest somebody. Like, come on, that's easy. I mean, you're actually trying to defend someone. And it could be at work as a police officer. It could be, it could have been at home. It could have been when you were a kid. It could have been when you were growing up. Hell, I don't know. But I want you to think about when the last time was that this happened to you. And if you haven't had the opportunity to do something like this, I want you to think of the last YouTube video you watched, because I know you watch them. But I want you to think about what it was that you felt inside as you were either getting ready to or in the process of defending yourself or your family or some other person. Like, what did you feel inside? Did you feel love? Did you feel light? Did you feel happiness? If you're nodding your head right now, you're a liar. I'm calling bullshit. Because you don't feel that. What you feel when you're defending yourself or you're defending your family, what you feel inside is rage, it's passion, it's anger. And that's what fuels you to want to win. Like, legit, if you've ever been in a fight and someone punches you in the face, you immediately get angry. At least I do. And I venture to say that you did too. And so what happens is we go on this like rage, like, you are not going to win. I'm going to win. And so we start to go through this process of destroying everything in front of us so that we can what? So that we can come out on top. So that we can win. This is why we do this. So consider the next time, and it doesn't matter if you're a police officer or not, the next time you see a video of a police officer in a fight and you're wondering why he's punching him in the face, think about that. Think about the fact that he's trying to defend himself. Think about the fact that he's trying to defend someone else. Like, I keep watching these videos on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and whatnot, and these cops in fights. And what's happened is some of these cops are afraid to go where they need to go, i.e., they're afraid to dig into the dark, to dig into their rage. Why? Because we as a society have said that that's not okay. You can't do that. That's not safe. That's not nice. How many times have you heard this? Why can't he just shoot him in the leg? Why did he have to punch him in the face? And so now police officers are confused. So what the hell is it that I'm supposed to do? I can't punch the guy in the face. I can't punch him anywhere. I'm just supposed to somehow convince him to not fight me, or convince him to not beat up his wife, or convince him to not run, or convince him to not pull out a gun. And so what it's done is it's put these police officers in a place of danger. Like, their inability to use the darkness, their inability to go to this place where they need to be of winning no matter what, has caused them to start losing. And I keep seeing this over and over and over again. And so instead of training our police officers on how to harness and use this darkness properly, we're taking it away from them. We're telling them that it's not okay. So these police officers, going back to them, here in the city that I work, Mesa, Arizona, they were involved in this incident. And they didn't beat him to a bloody pulp. They didn't. They literally, they did fist strikes and knee strikes until they gained what? Compliance. Boom. Then done. That was it. And that's exactly how they were trained. And they were trained that way for a reason, right? Because it allows them to be safe. It allows them to maintain control of the situation. Because when they lose control, all hell breaks loose. And you guys have seen this. So I want you to consider in your life, where is it that you have been hiding from this darkness? Where is it that you've been avoiding this darkness? Where is it on the other side of the coin that you have left this darkness uncontrolled? See, because I can tell you all about that too. I can't tell you how many times that I yelled and screamed and punched things when I would get angry at my wife. Or I would get angry at my kids, throw things. And it served no purpose. A couple of months ago, actually, I got mad, and I don't even, honestly, at this point, don't remember why I was mad. But I took it out on the electric garbage can. Like, we got one of those cool garbage cans that, like, you hold your hand over it and it lifts up like this little sensor. Super cool. And I got really mad, and I threw something in there, and I manually yanked it up, and so now it doesn't close properly. And after I'd cooled off, my wife comes, and she goes, well, was it worth it? I'm like, was what worth it? She's like, well, you just destroyed the garbage can because you couldn't control yourself. And I was like, oof, there's the truth. So, here's where we find ourselves as men, as police officers, is stuck between too much rage and stuck between not enough. Stuck between no darkness and too much darkness. And so we end up confused, and what happens? Nothing happens. So listen, I'm going to keep going on this, but at this point, if you're feeling the need to change something, I get it. And you're like, how? How do I do this? Listen, I got something for you. Go to awakentheguardian.com. There's something called the Tactical Guide to Becoming Elite. Really cool title, but what it does is it helps you get clear on where it is that you are right now in every aspect of your life, what it is that you want, and how it is that you're going to get it. It's free. So go there, download it, and use it. Because I created it for you. I didn't create it for everyone else. Listen, there's so many things that are created, nothing for police officers. This was created by a cop for cops. All right, now back. So how do we use this darkness? How do we harness this darkness? What's good? What's bad? And why do we struggle so much with it? Why as a society do we struggle so much with it? Why as police officers do we struggle so much with it? So I want you to think about this darkness as one of two things. This darkness that you have inside is either a defender or it's a destroyer. A defender or destroyer. I'm going to take this back to you police officers that have worked the street. You've seen this in action. You've seen when a police officer has taken this force, this anger, this rage, this darkness inside too far. And you're like, probably shouldn't have done that. Probably shouldn't have punched the guy in handcuffs. Probably shouldn't have hit him over the head with my baton. Probably shouldn't have. And listen, I get it. I've done some stuff. But I also want you to look at the other side. How many police officers have gotten hurt because there wasn't enough darkness? There wasn't enough of this rage and anger and passion. Like, I'll give you an example. He's retired now, but a former coworker of mine was working patrol, and he went to an apartment complex about, again, a disturbance, and he shows up, and he ends up getting in a fight with someone. Like a knockdown, drag out, it's a fight. Another officer shows up, and this other officer refuses to engage, refuses to get involved, and is literally watching this officer get his ass beat. And so what does the officer do? He does what he needs to do because he's losing the fight. He takes out his gun and he shoots the suspect. And afterwards, they're asking this police officer, not the one who shot, but the one who didn't get involved, why didn't you get involved? And his answer was, I didn't feel it was necessary. Like, I didn't feel it was necessary. What does that tell you? And I'm not trying to bag on this officer. I'm trying to bag on who we've become as police officers. We've become afraid to use the passion, the rage inside to get accomplished what we need to get accomplished. Like, if you're afraid to get involved in a fight to save someone's life, or to defend someone else, or to defend yourself, you're doing the wrong job. Like, leave now. Because I guarantee you that your fellow police officers will not appreciate it when you show up as their backup and they're either in a fight or in a shooting or something else, and you turn around and drive the other way. Or you just stand there like an idiot. So defender or destroyer, right? This darkness that we have inside, we have to learn how to harness it. We have to learn how to use it. And there is a line. For those of you that work out, which I hope is all of you, I know it's not, but I hope it's all of you. When you go to the gym and like you get really into a workout, what happens? Like you get like the angry eyes, right? We call them the crazy eyes. Like, wow, he's got crazy eyes. Like he's really into his workout right now. And you're pumping and you're grunting and you're yelling and you're rah, like, and you're done. When you're done, you're like, man, that was an incredible workout. That was so good. Like, it wasn't the happy fairy that got you through the workout. Like, it was the darkness. If you've ever been out with your family and been confronted by somebody, that guy that gets in front and postures and is like, get the hell away from my family, like, that's the darkness. That's not the Mr. Nice Guy. And he's there for a reason. He's there to protect. Those of you who ever been in a knockdown, drag out fight at work or on the street or wherever, like that guy that comes out and wants to beat the piss out of the other guy, that's the darkness. So instead of, as a society, us hiding from this darkness, instead of a society hiding from the fact that this darkness serves us, we should be embracing it. Like, we should be embracing the fact that we have this inside of us. See, because whether you believe in God or a higher being or Jehovah or Buddha or whoever it is that you believe in, somebody created you. And they gave you everything that you have. Not just the good, but the bad. Because that's the way you like to look at it. Good versus bad inside of you. Instead of saying, this is just all of me. Like this passion that I feel, because that's what really the darkness is. The darkness is passion. And what is passion? The passion is love. And what do people like to say that light is? Light is love. So you've got different variations of love. Love and passion. And love and light. Right? So what would happen if we were to embrace this darkness inside? What would happen if we were to learn to channel this darkness inside? How would our lives shift, what would they look like? I want you to consider that. I want you to consider that what would happen if police officers, instead of police officers being put in this position where they feel obligated to perform a certain way, i.e., perform in front of the camera, what if they were simply allowed to do their job? What if they were simply allowed to take care of business? What if they were taught, i.e., trained on how to use their darkness properly? Instead of waiting for someone else to do something to them. See, what I appreciate about these officers, because I worked with them all, what I appreciate about them is the fact that when push comes to shove, they will bring out their darkness. And then, once it's not needed anymore, they'll put it away. When their passion is needed, it comes out. And when it's not, it's put away. When their love is needed, it comes out. When it's not, they put it away. I know this is hard for a lot of people to understand, even some of you police officers. But the reason that you do what you do, and this is what it comes down to, is because you love. You love your country. You love your family. You love society. You love the good people. Like, you love. That is why you do what you do. You could say it's for the money, but that's a lie. You could say it's for the glory, but that's a lie. Like, the reason that you do it is because of the love that you feel for others. All right. So what can you do? Because I realize that I do a lot of talking on these, and I haven't really been like giving a whole lot of to-dos. So this is what you can do. How is it that we learn to channel this darkness inside? Well, same thing we learn, or how we learn to shoot a gun, or how to drive a car. Like, it's literally reps. That's what it is. You have to learn to let it out, and then you have to learn to control it. That's it. Like, it's not a complicated process. It's not going to be an easy process, but it's not a complicated process. So what if you first learn to control it, what if you first learn to let it out in an environment that's safe? How many of you guys actually take any type of fighting training, organized fighting training? Boxing, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, MMA, Krav Maga, like any of this active type of fighting. How many of you guys actually train this way? And I'll venture to consider that it's probably less than 25% of you. 25% of you police officers who actually actively train in some type of martial arts, we'll call them. Active fighting. Why do I say this? Because again, if you've ever been in a fight and you get punched in the face, the darkness comes out. Like, you just want to rip the other dude's head off. And I know that's a figure of speech, but you understand what I mean. So in fighting, not only does it teach you to control that rage and that passion inside, but it shows you techniques that you can use. So yes, get angry, but get angry with an armbar, or get angry with a sweeping leg kick, or get angry with a control hold. Like, whatever it is, get angry, but with a purpose. See, why do so many police officers break their hands? Because they try and punch people in the face. Like, I get it. I have not broken my hand doing that, but I have bruised it. And I do know a friend of mine who I think broke it 3 times in a row. The boxers, I think it's boxers break or something. But listen, put yourself in a situation where you can use this anger, passion, aggression in a controlled environment. Because then what happens? Then your body learns to control it. The adrenaline dump, you learn to control it. The anger, you learn to control it. The passion, you learn to control it. And so you go into these situations now on the street, interacting with the public, or in some other place, and you have the ability to control it. Instead of destroying everything and everyone in front of you, you learn to channel it to defend. And the same thing goes for your family. Like, how do we learn to defend our families with this anger and their passion, or this anger and this passion? It's practice. Like, that's what it is. My wife and I get into heated arguments, like heated arguments. They're what? They're passionate arguments. I used to yell and scream at her for no reason. I used to throw things for no reason. I used to storm out for no reason. I used to. But what I learned was to channel this passion. Like, I'm going to be passionate about what I want, because what I want is what's best for both of us. And so now I channel it. Yes, we yell. Yes, we scream. Yes, we get into arguments and fights. But it's always with a purpose now. There's always something at the end that we're trying to get out of it. So I want you to consider two things. One, how you can use to, or what you can use to learn to harness and control this passion at work, and what you can use or do in order to learn to harness this passion at home. And I want you to consider that the only way that you're going to become the true you is if you own all of you, the light and the dark, the defender, not the destroyer. All right, that is it for today, my brothers and sisters. As always, if you're curious, you want to learn more, listen, I've got a couple things for you. I've got this awakentheguardian.com where you can get your free tactical guide. But what I've also created for you are some programs, because I've had a lot of police officers reach out to me. I've had a lot of men reach out to me, and they're like, listen, things are not working and I can't do this on my own. So I'm like, all right, cool. I got something for you. And I do. So I have a couple different programs. If you go to warriorguardian.com, you'll see these. They're different lengths, but at the end of the day, they're all meant to help you. They're all meant to help you get what you want out of life, professionally and personally. Because the only way for you to find satisfaction in your life is for you to link up with your purpose. The only way to link up with your purpose is to find clarity. So, my brothers, reach out to me if you have questions. Gerritt, Gerritt at Awaken. Actually, check that. Gerritt at warriorguardian.com. That's my email address. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, and as always, on the sites, Awaken the Guardian and warriorguardian.com. But stay safe. Learn to harness this darkness. Learn to make it a defender, not a destroyer. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.